All right, let's dive right into this explainer and demystify a bureaucratic maze that literally catches thousands of people off guard every single year getting a document apostilled in the Commonwealth of Virginia. If you are planning to work, study, or handle any kind of legal matter abroad, you know that one wrong stamp can completely derail your entire plan.
I mean, just imagine the absolute nightmare of flying halfway across the world only to have your critical documents flat out rejected at a foreign border just because they lack one specific certification. Whether it's a birth certificate for an international adoption, a diploma for a graduate program, or a background check for a new job overseas, we are going to prevent that rejection today by getting your paperwork a VIP passport.
So we've built a foolproof 6-part roadmap for you. We're going to cover what an apostille actually is, how to prep your Virginia documents, the submission roadmap, federal and out-of-state exceptions, how to avoid getting rejected, and finally, your next steps.
Okay, part 1. What is an apostille? Let's start with the basics and define exactly what this crucial piece of paper does. Under the 1961 Hague Convention, an apostille is a standardized legal validation. But here is the really critical distinction you need to understand. An apostille doesn't actually prove your document is factually accurate. It merely proves to over 120 Hague Convention countries that the Virginia official who signed or notarized it is in good standing and actually has the legal capacity to do so.
And this makes total sense when you think about it, right? Because if a university in Spain or a bank in Brazil is looking at your Virginia-issued paperwork, they have literally no way of knowing if some local notary stamp is real. The apostille bridges that gap of trust. It acts as this universally recognized international seal of approval.
Moving right along to part 2, preparing your Virginia documents. Before you even think about mailing anything to Richmond, you have to know the rules. First up, the Office of the Secretary of the Commonwealth enforces a super strict 12-month recency rule. If your document or its notarization is older than 12 months, it is instantly rejected, no exceptions. Now, for private documents, things like a power of attorney or an affidavit, Virginia law demands 7 exact elements from a commissioned notary. And this is huge, so listen closely. Absolutely no electronic signatures or e-notaries are allowed for apostilles. Everything, and I mean everything, must feature an original wet ink signature and a physical stamp.
Now, there is a stark difference when we talk about public records. Vital records, your birth, death, or marriage certificates, they have to come directly from the Virginia Department of Health or the DMV. Corporate records, those come from the State Corporation Commission. And the golden rule here? Under Virginia law, notaries are strictly prohibited from notarizing vital or corporate records. If a notary stamps your birth certificate, it is immediately voided for an apostille.
Academic records, on the other hand, like diplomas or transcripts from schools like VCU or William and Mary, require kind of a specialized dance. First, a school registrar has to sign an original wet ink statement right there on the document, confirming it's real. Then, a commissioned Virginia notary public must physically witness that official signature, verifying their identity with a government-issued photo ID. A school badge is not going to cut it.
Okay, part 3, the submission roadmap. Your documents are perfectly prepped, so how do you actually get them to Richmond?
Well, you can't just throw your papers in an envelope with a handwritten note and cross your fingers. You have to log into the Virginia Authentication portal online, put in your info, and specify your exact destination country. The system uses that specific country to figure out what certification you need, and then it generates a mandatory official cover letter that absolutely must accompany your packet.
As for the cost, the standard state fee is surprisingly affordable. It's just $10 per document, no matter how many pages it is. But it has to be paid by check or money order made out precisely to the Secretary of the Commonwealth. Oh, and here's a fun little administrative quirk. If you accidentally overpay by $5 or less, the agency just absorbs it. You are not getting a refund.
When it comes to time frames, you've got a few options. Regular mail via USPS takes about 7 to 10 business days. Using a courier drop box shaves that down to 5 to 7 days. But if you need it right this second, constituents can book same-day in-person appointments. Fair warning, though, these are fiercely guarded. You can only book them online. The portal opens strictly on Fridays at 10 a.m. for the following week, and you are capped at 10 documents per appointment.
Right, let's jump to part 4, federal and out-of-state exceptions. Knowing your jurisdictional boundaries is going to save you a lot of headache.
Basically, if you have a federal document, think an FBI background check, an IRS tax form, or maybe something signed by a military notary, the Virginia Secretary of the Commonwealth cannot touch it. Those documents have to be escalated all the way to the U.S. Department of State Office of Authentications in Washington, D.C. That's a totally separate process with a $20 fee and very different processing timelines.
Similarly, if your document was notarized in Maryland or your business was incorporated in Delaware, you have to go through those respective states. Plus, remember that an apostille is strictly for international use. If your document is just going to another U.S. state, domestic validation is handled locally by a circuit court clerk, not the state authentication office at all.
All right, Part 5, How to Avoid Rejection. Let's look at the most common yet completely avoidable administrative roadblocks.
I need you to pay very close attention to this one. When you get your document back, the state will have attached the apostille certificate to it using a single steel staple. If you remove, bend, or break this staple, even just temporarily to make a clean photocopy, your document is legally voided. Foreign authorities will treat it as tampered with and reject it on the spot. Do not touch the staple.
So before you submit, be your own auditor. Did the notary forget to write the specific county? Rejected. Are the signatures photocopied instead of fresh, wet ink? Rejected. Did a well-meaning notary stamp your birth certificate? Rejected. Just make sure everything is under 12 months old and executed perfectly.
And finally, Part 6, Next Steps and Resources. Let's wrap this up with your exact action items.
Follow this concrete checklist. First, verify it is actually a Virginia document. Check the date, double-check those wedding signatures, generate that mandatory portal letter, and hey, if you are choosing the mail-in or Dropbox route, please do not forget to include a self-addressed, prepaid, trackable return mailer so you actually get your critical documents back safely.
You'll definitely want to bookmark this URL right now, commonwealth.virginia.gov. Go to Official Documents and then click Authentications. That is the only place you can generate your cover letter, review the strict guidelines, or try your luck at snagging one of those coveted Friday morning in-person appointments.
Now, a quick reality check before we sign off. While this explainer is based on the latest and greatest available resources, bureaucratic procedures, portal systems, and state fees can and absolutely do evolve. So always verify the latest requirements and forms directly with the Virginia Secretary of the Commonwealth before you drop your documents in the mail. Bureaucracy can feel super dense, I know, but you now have the exact blueprint to confidently conquer the Virginia apostille process. You know the rules, you know the exceptions, and you know exactly how to avoid the pitfalls. So audit your paperwork, print that cover letter, and go get your documents their VIP passport today.